Hey, 5th grade, we have been talking about the 3 states of matter, and I'm going to go quickly through the slides that we talked about in the notes that we have been taking in class. First thing that we talked about are solids, and the main thing that we learned was that a solid likes to hold its own shape. Okay, when we draw a solid, we want to make sure that the matter in it is either touching or that it is linked together in these rows, okay, and then in the columns. You can see that it is linked together, okay. We know that if we pull on this side of the matter, that the other side of the matter is going to go with it. It's like pulling a brick. The whole brick is going to come with you. We in class like to be the matter. We like to get up and we like to have a solid party. Okay, and after we show how a solid is going to look, we like to then arrange our pieces of matter into a solid. So the main thing that we want to do with the solid is we want to make sure that they are in rows and that they are also lined up in columns. Okay, and it always makes it more fun to be able to drag floating heads when you do that. So now that we have floating heads in rows and columns, the last thing that we need to do is we need to link that matter together, okay? And we like to do this in class. We like to link them ear to ear, okay? And we like to make sure that they are all bonded together. We talked about a liquid. The main thing that we learned from this slide is that a liquid will fill up the shape of its container with the help of gravity. Gravity is going to push that liquid down. We drilled this into our brain, this picture. This is a picture of matter in a liquid. It is not in rows and columns anymore, and it has spread out. They're all just kind of hanging out. That was our matter party when we had it in class. We all just kind of mingle around. Now we have arrows on this matter because that shows on a picture that it's moving around. The arrows are short though, so that tells me that it's kind of moving slowly. The main thing that we need to know is that it moves within its container. Okay, a liquid will take the shape of its container. We said that if you had a swimming pool, okay, a big body of water, and you walked over to it and just dipped your cup in there to get some, the whole swimming pool is not going to come with you. Only that little bit of that liquid matter that you got into your cup. When we arrange our floating heads this way, we don't care if they're in rows or columns. They can be anywhere they want to be. We also learned that liquid likes to stick together if it can. Okay? If it can link up, it will do that. Okay? But we know that a liquid can move around. This liquid's going to move together. Okay? That matter moved together, rather. But we know that all the arrows stay inside that space because liquid takes the shape of its container. The last one we learned was a gas. We know that a gas is the 3rd state of matter, and that we know that a gas can take the shape of its container, okay, as long as there is not an opening for it to get out. We drilled this picture into our brain, and this was the matter inside of a gas. The matter spreads out as it warms up. It spreads out. And we draw the lines going outside the container because we know that if there is an opening, it's going to find its way out. Okay? We also know that matter in a gas moves quickly. And that's how when we had our party in class, our gas party, they were moving quickly. I said to envision that you have come back from PE and that you're all hot and sticky. You don't want to be next to someone that's hot and sticky too. You want to kind of spread out. So the more heat that is added, the farther away that matter is going to be from each other. In our gas party, we didn't have to use all the matter, but we could if we wanted to. Okay? We spread that matter out, and we know that matter in a gas can go outside of its container if there is an opening. Okay, it can go any direction that it wants to go. Okay, and we draw those long arrows because most of the time that means that you are moving quickly. You're getting there fast. We have done this in class where we each come to the board and we drag the different, I guess, object to the column that it needs to go in. I want you to look at this at home, and I want you to see for a second if you can figure out what column each of these go in. You might be able to even ask your parent if they know. I will tell you that in this one, the milk, we're talking about the milk inside of it. We're talking about the juice inside of the orange juice. In the picture with the tea kettle, we're really focused on the steam right here. Okay, just the steam. In this beaker, we're focused on the substance inside it here at the bottom of it. In this balloon, we're focused on what is inside the balloon. In this aerosol can, we're talking about what will be produced when it is sprayed outside of the can. And in here, we're talking about the soda that is inside this can. Take some time and push pause, and then take some time with your parent and see if you can figure out which place they go. We talked about that a solid, liquid, and a gas might look like this. It might not have those arrows when you see it in a book or on a test, but I wanted you to get used to seeing these 3 different pictures of solid, liquid, and gas. You can read this to yourself because we read this in class. The main thing that I want to point out and remind you is that a solid, if it has had a force acted upon it, that matter can jiggle. And we said you can't say the word jiggle without having a smile on your face. Okay, but a solid, in the matter inside of it, it can jiggle. Okay, but it's not just going to break apart like we said if you see the commercial with the Skittles and you touch the Skittles or you touch that object and it all turns into Skittles. That's not what's going to happen when you have a solid. Okay? Now, here is the most important part. This is our fancy diagram that we like to talk about. Here, we like to say that if we are changing state, the 3 states of matter, and what you yell back at me in class, are a solid, a liquid, and a gas. We said that if you are traveling in this direction from solid to liquid to gas, we decided in class that you are having to add, do you remember? Heat. Okay, you are adding heat. If you are going this direction from gas to liquid to solid, you are not adding cold. Okay, you don't add cold. You are actually just removing or losing the heat. Okay. Now, when we do this in class, we like to draw our 3 states of matter, and I will do that really quickly. I will also do that real lazily, if that is a word, and see if I can not put so many pieces of matter in my drawing. Okay. A liquid, they're not in rows and columns, and they have those arrows to show that they are going different places within their container. And with a gas, we like to see that they are going outside of their container if there's an opening. Okay? Now, we talked about the fancy words. If it is changing from a solid to a liquid, that is like ice to water, then that fancy word would be that you are melting it. If you're changing from a liquid to a gas, that means that you are evaporating that liquid. If you're changing back from a gas to a liquid, that's why this arrow is going backwards. This is the hardest one, I believe. It's condensation. If it's with an ing, you would say it's condensing. And then an easier one, if you take water and make it into a solid, into ice, you had to put it in the freezer, so you are freezing it. Okay? Now, for our bonuses, if you're watching this, our bonuses, we learned that there is one that changes directly from solid to gas. That's when we were talking about dry ice. And that's sublimation. That's a bonus question. Okay? If you're going directly from a gas to a solid, we learned that that was deposition. Deposition. Now, you need to burn this image into your brain and make sure the key points that you know are these 4 words. be able to tell me where they go. I might ask you, what is it called when it changes from a solid to a liquid? You would need the word melting. What is it when it changes from a gas to a liquid? It would be condensing. Make sure you know those 4 special words.